We are going to talk about the syllabus for the class. There are routine things that you can read here. Contact me by email. I'm not going to be on campus, so don't call me. The office hours are given here. The Zoom links will be different for different days. I want to focus on the most important things here. There are probably 2 or 3 important things. The first thing is that these are synchronous online meetings. So there is no face-to-face meeting. You have to come to class at 9, 10 a.m. on Mondays. There may be 2 weeks when we don't have those meetings because of my other professional engagements. I have other things to do professionally. For those reasons, I may not be able to meet with you on 2 days, which are listed in the syllabus. But when we meet, I want you to have your webcam on and audio on when we are in a setting that you do group work or lab work. But on the days when you have exams, you must have the video on, but no audio. So it is quite important that you get a webcam. And if you don't have a webcam, you don't get credit for the work that you do that class meeting. The second thing that I want to focus on is the nature of the material. I'm not going to read all these things that are in the course outcomes or catalog description that you can read on your own. What I want to emphasize that this is a course on computational thinking. How do you take a problem and get it solved using a computer? How do you think through that problem? This kind of thinking is going to be very different from anything you have seen in other fields. It takes a while to get used to that kind of approach. So you must give it some time. You must be patient. And every week, I'm emphasizing this, every week, you must master the material covered that week before going on to the next week. Otherwise, you will have a miserable experience with this course. I'm not exaggerating here. If you don't understand what happens in one class, the next class will make no sense. If you don't watch the videos, if you don't work seriously on the core material in the textbook and do the quiz and approach the problems in the class exercise properly, you will not be successful. That is the major thrust that I want to have in this video. You must have good math background via college algebra or pre-calc or stat 1. You must also be very good at using a computer, but you don't have to know any programming. Look at the textbook, etc. You can, you need to purchase that book. Let's talk about the third aspect, which is probably most central in your mind. That is, how do you get graded? What are the things that we do, etc. There will be lectures, but all the lectures will be posted online before class. You must watch those videos before coming to class. If you just walk in without looking at any of the videos, it's not going to make much sense. You are not going to be able to follow what is happening, and you will not be successful. And what we do during the class is actually go over the most important points, answer your questions, and then do 2 major activities. One is a class exercise. Every class, except when there is an exam, you will be given a set of problems to work on, and you will be working in a group setting of about 3 to 5 students. During that time, you will have your webcam on, audio on, you will be discussing with your classmates, group mates, and solve problems, and you turning that online. After that, you will be doing a lab. And this lab will probably take an hour or hour and a half. It varies from week to week. And you will do this independently. You will be doing it without consulting anyone else. And then there are, of course, programming assignments. There are 11 of them. There are deadlines. You must submit them by the deadline. Then, on top of all this, there is a set of readings, 7 of them, that I have posted on D2L, which you must read those documents and submit answers before the deadline. So you have to take those quizzes before the deadline. You can start them as early as you want, but you cannot go past the deadline for submitting those quizzes. I will not be covering those things in class. Now, for the grading, here are the various categories on which you will be graded, like the 7 quizzes that I just talked about you. Each one is worth 10 points for a total of 70. There are 11 programming assignments, as I said before, each worth 20 points, but I'm capping the whole thing at 210. And then there are 12 labs, each worth 20 points for a total of 220. Similarly, 12 class exercises, 10 points each, capped at 100. And then 11 quizzes capped at 100, 3 exams for 300 points. What is capping? Let me take one example. Let's say we have, let's focus on assignments. There are 11 assignments. And most students lose a point or two in some of these assignments. And suppose you lose 2 points on one assignment, 3 on a second one, say 4 on a third one, and a 1 point on the fourth one. You have lost 10 points total. So out of 11 programming assignments, you scored 210 points out of a possible 220. Then the maximum you can get out of 220 is 210. So you haven't lost anything. You're still scoring the maximum possible points. So whether you score 210, 211, 220, 212, 213, or anywhere from 210 through 220, you're going to get 210. So unless you lose more than 10 points, you will still get the maximum possible grade out of assignments. Same thing is true for labs, class exercises, and home quizzes. So this is a mechanism here. This capping is a mechanism that helps you not pay a penalty for a few points lost here and there. The grade for the course will be based on this table, subject to another requirement. That is, for each category, you have to score a minimum number of points as given in this table. And if you don't meet the minimum here, there is going to be a reduction in grade. You have to score at least 150 points for the exams. If you Don't do that, your grade will be no more than a C. So even if you score full points for everything else and score, let's say 149 out of 300, your grade is going to be a C. This is also true if you don't score the minimum for 2 or more categories. And if you score less than the minimum for any one category, your course grade will be one shade below what it would have been otherwise. For example, if you scored quite well in every category except, say, labs, and you scored 100 out of 220, and you are going to get, let us say, a B plus, your grade will be reduced to a B. Now, the last couple of things I want to talk about is things for missed work or late submissions or not having your video on during class time, etc. Those things can happen from time to time. And there are students who ask me for some excuses. So for that, I have devised a mechanism that is uniform for all students. So I don't favor one student more than the other. So there are 4 allowances that you can have for the entire semester. It is up to me to decide whether I should give you that allowance or not. But there are 4 allowances that you have, max. Let's take a couple of examples. Suppose you don't have the webcam on during class time. Let's say during the group exercise. And if you don't have the webcam on, you don't get credit for the class exercise. You lose 20 points. So instead of that, you could use one of your excuses that day and then get 20 points. So, but you have used up one of your excuses. And for the same day, suppose you don't have the webcam on during lab as well, you can use one of your excuses again. Or suppose you don't turn in your lab by the deadline, you can submit it the same day, a little later, using your allowance, using one of your allowances. Or if you missed a quiz by the deadline, you shouldn't take it by the deadline, you can use the allowance. But I will not allow you to use the allowance after I have posted a solution for anything, for a quiz or for a assignment or anything. If I have posted the solution, you can't use the allowance again. You can't use that allowance. And I will have to let you use the allowance. I may refuse to honor your request if I don't feel that the allowance is justified. And you certainly can't get an allowance for things like a bad performance in an exam or a wrong assignment or those kinds of things. The schedule is given here. You can look at it. It lists the lectures and the days and the topics covered. And here is a table of all the deadlines or most of the deadlines. Not everything is listed here, probably, but it gives you a sense of when things are due. Hopefully the dates are correct. If I notice a mistake, I will correct those.